And I assume that your role, by the way, as a lawyer, was in sort of advising and training and the legal foundation and framework for new democratic.
Well, the way it developed is first we were doing political conferences. How do you win elections? It was basically how do you do opposition research? How do you understand the election mechanisms? How do you identify voters? How do you turn them out? Once that we had some success, and they were becoming elected to positions in city government, regional government, we put it on governance conferences on how government functions, talking about balances of power, ethics in government, and things like that. And we also started putting on a parallel track at the same time where we would put on business conferences about free enterprise, how to start a business. And so we trained in 3 different areas: election technology, governance, and business. As far as the law goes, the legal structures were so, they were there, but they were such shams that there really wasn't a lot of legal advice that would come from a lawyer. It was more like, what did you learn in 7th grade civics class? Most of the people that we worked with were physical scientists and doctors. The lawyers were the people who were the worst to deal with in the Soviet Union at the time. They attracted the less.
Do we have something to learn from that? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess there is on the margins.
Yeah. And all this was done without hindrance. You know, you're doing all these trainings. I know you said this before, well, so I mean, I'm just.
A city had to be open. I mean, when we went to Nizhny Novgorod, we were probably the first Americans to ever go there because that had been a closed city.
Yeah.
So we had to wait sometimes for a city to be open. But basically, we would sit down, Kriebel would say where we're going to go, and I would try to come up with 3 cities that would be interesting for Weyrich, Kriebel, and myself, that were somewhat geographically able to make the connections. And so logistically, it was more like, could we make flights, and were there connections? There was really no real support that we needed from the Russian government that the interregional group of deputies couldn't get us. When we go there, I mean, sometimes we'd stay at the in-tourist hotels if you were at a city that had tourists. Other times we'd stay at the Oktoberskaya hotels, which were the hotels for the Russian dignitaries.
Officials, yeah.
So we weren't just going in there because we showed up and said we want to stay at the dignitary hotel. It was because the interregional group of deputies was doing something. But on my end, I would go down to the Russian or the Soviet embassy and get the visas. And on their end, they would take care of the logistics.